So I'm Heather Harris, and this is my husband, Matt,
Hello.
and my daughter, Scarlett. We just recently joined Northside, but this is kind of my story. We've been looking for a church home for a very long time, but it's kind of been off and on. You know, we weren't super committed to it, which is embarrassing to say now, but because it's those small steps that you just have to keep on taking. Needless to say, pregnant with the second child, and we're just feeling like, okay, you know what? We really need to make this a priority for our family. And we're in probably our third or fourth Sunday here, and Pastor Wayne is talking about the Discover Northside class that's coming up that night, and I'm like looking at him, and I work in healthcare, so I'm like, well, I'm not on call today, and I better make this happen because baby is coming, and if we want to learn about this, then now's the time. So that was introduced, and then Pastor Wayne gets into his sermon, and he's talking about procrastination and the focus of, to how God places things on your heart and you need to act on them. He talks about a story where a pastor introduces the idea, and if you're going to make a decision, then you need to make a decision by the next week. Well, then the Chicago fire happened, and then there was no sermon the next week, and it just put that kind of conviction in my mind of, okay, we've been dragging our feet and we need to make this happen. And one thing that's kind of been in my personal history is that I was sprinkled in the Methodist church early on, but I've kind of always known that if I wanted to be a full believer, and I needed to have it on my own conviction to be washed through Christ with baptism immersion. So that was something also on my list. So that night we decided to go to the Discover Northside class. And while we're there, we have, we're talking about baptism. We're talking about all the core beliefs of the church. And then we have a discussion with John while we're eating. And I was like, well, I need to be baptized. And I said, so when can we do that? And he goes, anytime. We can do it today. And I was like, sweet. It's just, God puts everything just lays it out for you and it just seemed like everything fell into place. And he looked at my husband and he was like, you're a baptized believer, right? And Matt was like, yep. And he goes, well, he could do it. And I was like, perfect. So that night, he baptized me. And I remember the feeling of coming up from the water and just feeling clothed in the Lord. John kind of talked about it, and Pastor Wayne talked about it. And, I feel like that was another step to just become right with God and be one of his people. If you're waiting, kind of ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Because God has been waiting for you. And I think it was a good decision. I'm happy to continue the journey with God for my family and myself.